Hi, Trevor here again. Once again, I'm still on media team for Ravonics Gemini, and welcome to podcast episode 2. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Returning for this week, we have Nathan, and we have newbie Zach. Take it away, guys. How you been?
Oh, just living it up with this FTC life.
Are you back in person, Zach?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've been back in person since first week, so.
Because you have football, and you can't really, different kind of rules apply to you because you're in a sport.
Well, not as much anymore. Now they're actually letting all sport players come back, so.
Kind of explain that a little bit.
So, yeah, earlier this year, there was limitations. They were off the bat. They were saying that we weren't going to be able to go back as athletes just because they want to kind of protect us in a COVID bubble and protect others. But the week leading up to going back into hybrid mode, they voted to let us actually go back to school. So we are now basically with the rest of the normal congregation at our schools, and we're living a great life with it. So at this point, can't argue about much.
Well, good. Glad you're back.
Glad to be back.
So, like I said, Nathan, he's done this before. He was nice enough to join back with us. We talked about programming a little bit last time, and I asked him some questions about how the turret's been doing. And you said, Nathan, yourself, it hasn't really progressed much, right?
I haven't heard from design or anything. On the programming side, we haven't made any changes.
Okay. Zach, how about you? What has build accomplished?
Recently, we've started constructing part of our goal for the field. We haven't done much robot building yet, just because we don't have set designs. We've started a chassis. I don't know how far they've really gotten on that. It hasn't seemed like there's been very much, but I will say, since I do have access to the Fusion files for our team, I will say that Blake has a chassis design that is almost well set. Now we just need to work on more the other components, launcher, indexer, collector, what have you. We just need to be working on those. So
I know Blake's been working on that because he's been sending me and Joseph daily updates. I wish I knew how to make my CAD drawings look as pretty as his do. Because oh my goodness, they've got reflections on the bot. It's beautiful.
I have been tinkering with Fusion, building my own stuff just to kind of get used to it. It is so much different, and it runs horribly on our laptops, especially mine, because I have 3 different Autodesk applications already on my laptop, and then it was oh yeah, now we need to download Fusion. I'm like, this does not seem like a good idea. I don't know how much more high-tech applications these Chromebooks can handle. So
they also have the processing power of my TI-84 over there. So
So wait, so Zach, you said you were building the goal. So what does that mean? You're making an imitation of the playing field right now for testing?
No, we have the playing field parts.
Okay.
They finally shipped in this last week.
Okay.
During near the end of the week, and in the morning we came in during the afternoon session to find that morning session had built part of it. They basically were building parts out of corrugated plastic, kind of like cardboard, but plastic. And they had built part of the goals, and me and Troy worked on building the Red Alliance goal and set it up. And I think the only things we have left to attach are there's a net that goes across the top and the back of it to catch flying rings so they don't go through the goal and hit the person on the other side. But it's kind of cool because they've got collection troughs, and then there's a return slot for the human player to put discs in and basically launch onto the field on a little ramp kind of. So that's all fun games, but Yeah, we're just kind of in the middle of setting up the goals, so that soon when we get a field and hopefully a robot, we can start
You do
running
trial
programs
runs,
with
right?
it. Yeah, Nathan, knock on wood here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully those trials are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what our deadline is for having the robot completely done. We have not talked about that very much as a team yet, because I don't even know. Nathan, have you heard anything on a competition date?
I have not.
Okay.
I know that there's supposed to be several meets in December, but I don't know when in December, and I don't know if we'll be ready to do it by then or
And that's the thing.
anything.
I think there's also going to be multiple meets in January, February timeline that we can also work around. And I think having that extra boost, because maybe if we come around to December, we might be able to all get together at some point, do something.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, here the next month, we'll be able to be together after school or something. Then I will probably be there a lot more.
Yeah. With programming for our 45-minute class periods, it's like just enough time to get everything set up and just start testing, and then you have to put everything away again.
And that's the thing with build. It's like to get out all of our parts. Because before we started on the goal, we started disassembling last year's robots. Like I think we disassembled 91. We're in the process of disassembling 9104. 9104 is like the last big bot to be disassembled. Then there's like parts of bots that are just strewn about. And then soon if we don't have any other things to work on as build, it'll be building the goals and building the and reorganizing stuff in the back closet, especially all the bins from last year.
Yeah.
Hernandez would love us to organize that.
Zach, is that a Pitt State shirt?
It is. I am not going there. It is a Pitt State football camp T-shirt.
Mm.
Yep.
Because from my camera's point of view, from the Pitt State down, I couldn't tell what it was.
I'm already confirmed.
Oh no.
Go ahead and tell people.
Wichita State.
Wichita State, cool.
Go Shocks. Go. Or apparently their phrase is "Woo Shock." Apparently that's like the name of the mascot. A shock of wheat. Imagine this. That's what I'm gonna have to wear on all my shirts. To be honest, I'm kind of excited to see. Like, no offense, it kind of gets boring when you're all, rooting for the Wildcats or rooting for the Jayhawks. Like, why not root for a shock of wheat?
It is different.
Speaking of mascots, you guys saw all those logos I posted a few.
I want the robot one, like the red eye.
Yeah. So what do you say? I screen share those and we react in real time and give me your thoughts.
Sounds good.
Go ahead. I'll be honest, I got all these when I was on the bus to our game last Thursday, and I was looking at them and I was like, dude, these are kind of interesting, but I shouldn't be focusing on these right now.
So this is the first one.
Explain like the Roman numeral 2 in there.
Yeah, so I didn't get to describe it yet. So what it is we are the Ravens. So traditionally Raven logos, I guess, for those who just kind of have no clue, the colors are kind of black and blue. Our colors are black and blue. So looking up inspiration was pretty straightforward because the color schemes are very similar. But I don't know. This one was kind of like didn't really come from any inspiration. It just kind of hit me. This was just something I guess I wanted to do. So it's kind of a bird or a raven aggressively kind of chomping down on the Roman numeral 2 because we're Gemini. And not to start like a horoscope argument, but that means twins in horoscope. I'm sure that's
of course it does.
Vaguely what it means. So that's the symbol. And I guess just kind of like the chomping down and the ferocity was, I guess it was just supposed to be like meant to represent kind of, we're aggressive, we're, fearless, we're ready to go out there and fight the other teams.
See, that was
graciously fight them.
Yes.
Professionally and graciously. Yes.
Gracious professionalism. No, but I'll be honest, when I saw this for the first time, I was thinking, what the heck? That was kind of my reaction because I was like, I understand the Ravens and I got that part. the Roman numeral 2 confused me because it's not like my mind immediately jumped to Gemini. I mean, I know that our team is called Gemini, but my mind did not like immediately jump and go, ooh, that represents Gemini. It's not like it really pops out as that. I mean, if there was like a symbol for Gemini, I mean, is that the symbol for Gemini?
I typed in Gemini symbol. That's what came up.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Well, those are just my thoughts. I was just really a little bit confused at first. It is one of those, you do have to kind of explain it a little bit. So.
Yeah, and the focus is kind of a little bit off because, like you said, maybe people don't get what the 2 is supposed to represent.
Yeah.
It is also kind of off center, like up and to the left. So it probably doesn't really help its case in terms of focus, plus the top's kind of cutting off a little bit.
Yeah, his little feather is out of frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
Moving
was the
on.
second logo idea?
This was it. So before we talk about it, I want to explain this one as well. So this one is kind of, my thought process for this one was very similar to sort of the relationship I had with the first one. It was I kind of just thunk it up because I wanted kind of a similar duality because, with 2 Gemini twins, I wanted to kind of keep a duality. So this one's kind of very similar to a Pit State, actually. It's 2 colors. It's blue and white this time, and it's a very symmetrical picture of a raven kind of looking head on. And it's very minimalist and pleasing to look at rather than the more freeform one I just showed to my fellow engineers here. But now
it's a yin yang in bird shape.
You are missing one part, like that top feather part on the left side is there. The blue.
Yeah, but it's not perfectly symmetrical. Like I said, like there's still like this is like
Is there still a little bit more work to be done if you were to improve upon it?
I mean, I guess if I wanted to,
Because his like
be
left
symmetrical, I
cheek
could.
is.
I mean, it just kind of looks a little lopsided. That's my only thing. I mean, like you have the mouth on point, almost. It's just that stuff on the right side that's like, if you were to fix up this logo, improve it just to make it look completely symmetrical, I'd say it would be a perfect design. So.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
That's my only thing is that it's like to have a minimalist design like that, in order to make it look good, you really got to pay attention to the details on that and make sure they're all even on that. So
I think between the 2 we've seen, I like the second one better. And I agree with Zach. If you could fix that other chin so it's perfectly symmetrical, I think I would really like that.
It was also kind of, like I said, more kind of inspired by Pitt State. It's not like perfectly symmetrical here because it's kind of like
I guess it isn't.
They incorporate the shadows,
Yeah, but with
the gorilla face itself is very symmetrically drawn. Just the shading and the darker color kind of overtakes the more white. So there's more dark than light. I guess you want to get technical.
But on that one, it's a little bit more noticeable on the details. With the blue and white, I think it's a lot more of a contrast to the point where it's harder to tell. Because what you got to think, red and yellow, those are pretty close colors on the plane, and so to have those just be the different shade that they are on separately, they're gonna just basically look like a better blend than this high contrast blue and white.
I guess the white's kind of blinding, but I mean, I feel like at this point, if we're gonna go with a logo, just to Mr. Hernandez said we don't want to like choose one that's too different because we don't want to rebrand. But I think we just slap in a ONW Ravens team thing. They'll.
Oh no, it's gonna have to be pink.
And they'll get the imagery much
better.
better.
No, Nathan, it doesn't have to be pink. Not if we're from ONW. We will still represent ONW, and we can wear the pink shirts.
We can make the lettering pink.
Yes.
Ugh.
Okay, so let's move on to the third and fourth design.
All right, so technically I did show a third one, but that was just the basic ONW logo. You can just look that one up, anybody who's listening. This one is that, but I gave it red eyes, completely red eyes, a little bit of a glow on the red eyes. And the teeth, this is like a lesser known detail. The teeth are like a gradient gray. So they
look like metal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and our Raven logo, for whatever reason, has teeth originally.
Which is terrifying.
Which is weird. But now it's metal teeth, so now it's even more scary.
it looks fantastic because thinking about it, I mean, to have a menacing look would be, I mean, Team Titanium's going to be shaking in their pants looking at this logo, you know? Slap that on the side of the robot.
Sure. With this one, I think this was my favorite out of all of them, but I think the eye needs some work because you've kind of lost all the detail. Like you can't see the pupil at all.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
So
It's like a red
I like the concept. I think it needs some touch up.
I think the eye is perfect. I mean, I think having the red eye always, canceling whenever you really see like a red eye in like an animated movie, and someone's like, oh, it's the red eye of doom or something. It's always a solid color. They usually don't have a pupil or anything. That's my only thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes they might have like a focus part of it. Like if you remember in the Iron Giant, his eyes would kind of like fold over and he'd have this a lot tinier spot, and that would be red. But I mean, to have this fully red one, it just makes a little bit more sense, especially to me, to have it fully red rather than try to go for a actual eye look. Because I think A would look a little bit more menacing if it were red, and it's not like it looks menacing as in like a scary sense, but it's going to be a really cool way to demonstrate our grit and our tenacity. And but I think the solid eye really works. So
Another thought, if we're really wanting to get across that it is a robotic sort of raven, do you guys know what the Borg look like in Star Trek?
the Borg, no.
If not, just do a quick Google search of it. But they've got like robotic parts on them. Just type in Star Trek Borg, B-O-R-G.
So you want to
It's
give the
almost like-
Raven a more technological.
Yeah, if it's a robot raven, I almost feel like it needs to have like a metal plate or something on it.
Or like
There
the
we go,
shell
I'm
of it
sure.
would be a metal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes complete sense.
What I was thinking, maybe what we could do is, if you're not happy with it, Nathan, we could have kind of. I was thinking, think of like evil robots for a minute. What pops into your mind for me is Terminator. He's got the basic metallic kind of look to him. He's got the red eyes, but his eyes, he has more of like a black eye and like a red pupil. And that could be done in theory for this one, but the problem is our logo, not only does it kind of incorporate a lot of black as is, but that's not an issue. What's an issue to me is that the area surrounding the red eye, which is the whole eye at this point, is black. So it would look like he has like it's a really small pupil, and it would kind of be hard to get a general sense of where his eye actually is.
Yeah. All right, a thought. What if the bird itself was made to be gray?
Made to be gray.
So, like all the black that we have now for the feathers, if the feathers were instead a gray color, what do you think of that?
I mean, we could do that. It would kind of. I mean, I'm
It wouldn't match our colors anymore, but
I'm sure you considered this. Yeah, it's kind of a given that it would kind of dilute a lot of the color palette that we have right now. I mean, black and blue isn't exactly a very popping color, so we kind of just end up, in my mind. I mean, we could certainly do it because it accomplishes our message of like a robotic bird, but it would kind of just sort of look almost a little too, unappealing. And that's probably too harsh a word. More like just kind of bland.
my point was, I think this one has potential. I think it needs some playing with to make it look its best.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like the teeth, though.
Yeah. And I feel like the teeth are a good contrast to like the solid color that the eye is. There's more detail on the teeth.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
But no, I really like the red eye aspect. When Nathan brought up the idea of making it like a gray raven more or less, sparked an idea in me, and like, what if you replace the black with like some kind of metal that has texturing? Like if you did like how on some trucks they have truck boxes and they're like covered in that like diamond, or what looks like, they call it like diamond plated steel or whatever, but it's got
that pretty shiny metal.
Yeah, but it's got like the little lines in it that are kind of crisscross the entire way down. if you did something like that in place of black, I think it would still give a really good form to the Raven. Having that blue there would be a really good contrast, and I think it would look like a really cool robotic metallic Raven. So,
And it would then also give us the color palette to be able to put in those black Terminator eyes that Trevor's describing.
yep.
Because I think that would really look good, having the deep black with the red pupil.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Fun. Root on for 101.73 Gemini, guys.
All right.
Woo.